Hey YouTubers, good morning, it's Rob Muffet. Guys, this video is for people who are going to the grocery store and are tearing their hair out over the price of meat. Their grocery bills are going sky high because they eat meat all the time. And I thought I'd have a video on some meat substitutes. I'm a meat eater. I grew up eating meat. I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan. I would identify myself as someone who tries to eat the most nutritious food he can at every meal. I try, I don't always do it. But that means sometimes I eat meat. But most of the time, I would say in the last 4 or 5 years, I've hardly ever had meat except for sometimes liver once in a while. I've ate mostly fish or beans, chickpeas, eggs, and cheese, and soy and products and other things like that. Let's go over what I've been eating, but not just what I've been eating, but I also want to show you how you can eat those things I just mentioned in a way that are not unfamiliar to you. It's difficult to transition into eating things that aren't meat if you're not used to eating them because they're foreign to you, and then it's just another barrier. I want to show you things I've been doing with the different foods I've been eating that are familiar to just about everybody. You know, that in my audience, you know, most people here in America, they're not vegetarians. Let's talk about the foods. Let's start off with the number ones. In case you turn off the video, let's start off with the most important one probably, are chickpeas. Half the planet, they don't eat meat. They eat beans and peas and soybeans and things like that. Lentils. Chickpeas or garbanzo beans are relatively inexpensive. This is a pound. Right now they're like $1.20. You can get them at Walmart. You can have they can order. You can order them online and they come to your house. There's 13 servings, 7 grams per serving. That's 91 grams of protein for $1.20. This is tofu. There's only 14 times 7, 70. That's 7, 4, 20, 98 grams. So there's only a tiny bit more protein in the tofu. This is how I make the chickpeas. I boil them for like 20 minutes. Actually, in the pressure cooker for about 10 or 15 minutes. But you don't need to use a pressure cooker. That's the thing about chickpeas. Most beans require you to soak them overnight or boil them for a long time. Chickpeas and lentils can cook on the stove in a regular pan for 20 minutes and they're done. Even less in the pressure cooker. And then when you get them, you can mash them up with just a regular potato masher. Where's my potato masher? I have kitchen appliances, but I wanted to show you guys you don't need them. If you have just a potato masher. If I stumble with my words this morning, I just woke up 25 minutes ago. I'm addicted to making YouTube videos. What am I doing? I haven't even had my breakfast. People always criticize my recipes because I have like 40 ingredients in them. This is a 3 ingredient recipe. You just take some mayonnaise and the boiled chickpeas and some onion powder, and then where's my relish? Oh, right in front of me. Just a spoonful of relish. So you just got a couple of 3 ingredients. You mash it up, and then if you want to have, everything's in front of me and I keep looking behind me. This is what it looks like. You can add a tiny bit of turmeric to give it more yellow color, but it looks like an egg salad. So it doesn't look foreign to you. You know, it's not strange. You can also add just a tiny bit of lemon. The lemon helps preserve the color and keep it fresh longer, but it's not going to last that long in the refrigerator. You can put this on tortillas. You can put it in the shells, tortilla shells. You can put it on crackers. It's very tasty. Put a little greens on there, some lettuce, and you're good to go. This is it's got, the thing of it, it's not only cheap, it's not only fantastically rich in protein and other ingredients, it tastes good. It doesn't have a strong beany flavor like other beans. The chickpeas are wonderful because you can do a lot of things with them, but they have a very mild flavor and they take on flavors of other things that you add to it. They cook very, very quickly and they're inexpensive. Everybody in America should have about 30 pounds of these in the cupboard. $1.20, what that? It's 36 bucks. You got 30 pounds of chickpeas, you know, get you something else, some other proteins like macaronis or something, or the little flatbreads. Everybody should also learn how to make their own flatbreads because that way you don't have to spend a lot of time baking. You know, look at what a lot of the poorer people on the planet eat. They make recipes that they get by on very well. You know, you don't have a lot of people making really fancy breads. They're quick. They got to go. They make a flatbread and they're done. So you copy what other people have already. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. But if you don't learn anything else from this video, number one is get yourself some chickpeas. There's millions of recipes on YouTube. I've got a few in my video channel playlist. Got about 300 videos. Let's look at two more of my favorites. People hate tofu. They just despise tofu. And that's because if something is good for you and you don't like it, you just haven't found the right recipe. This is tofu that's been cooked in my pan this morning when I have my breakfast. I'd marinate it with a little bit, excuse me. You don't have to do this. This is fish sauce and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and some soy sauce, and just a spoonful of Italian seasoning. And marinate it. Now, it's going to have a fishy flavor. You don't need to add the fishy stuff, though. You can add whatever you want. You just marinate it. Remove the liquids. But the key ingredient, there's the key method of cooking it, is you freeze it and then thaw it out. And when you freeze it and thaw it, it develops a lot of cracks. So when you put it in your marinade, it absorbs immediately. All the marinade goes inside the tofu, and it also firms it up because you're going to be, once you freeze it, when you take it out, you're going to squeeze it and get even more water out than before. So this is unfrozen, this is frozen. You can also get the soft tofu and make up the same type of spread that we did here with the chickpeas, but it won't be yellow, it'll be white, and it'll have like an egg salad taste to it. And then you can always add just a little bit of lemon to help preserve the freshness, give it a nice tart flavor. And I find that I'm adding Italian. This is becoming my soy sauce. I'm adding this to everything as Italian seasoning, dressing. So this is a way you can cook your tofu, and it looks like something. It looks like a sandwich meat, and it's got a nice texture to it. It's not like regular tofu that you've probably been exposed to before. The third thing is, there's going to be four. So this is the third out of the fourth, is the chub mackerel. I make mackerel on my Panini Grill, and I marinate it in my Italian seasoning, and it ends up, I keep it in the refrigerator, and I just have a piece now and then. But this morning I'm going to be making a salad with the rotini and just a little bit of dressing and some vegetables. Now, this is got a lot of protein, but it's still not as much as a tofu, and it's not as much as the chickpeas. But if you're wanting animal protein, you don't want soy, you don't want chickpeas, this is probably the least expensive animal protein you can purchase. But it's still less protein than the other two I mentioned. But most people don't know how to fix this. I've got about almost 8 or 9 recipes on canned fish recipes in my playlist you might want to check out. I make fish cakes and do all sorts of things with these. But if you're trying to cut back on your meat, now every once in a while I do have meat. This is calf liver. People hate calf liver. Right now I can hear our people unsubscribing, but this is one of the most most dense and nutrition foods that you can eat. But how I did a video on how I cook this. I just get a little a knife that's serrated. I cut it in half and snap it, and I put it in a frying pan, really low heat with some oil. And then as the bottom pieces heat up, they separate from the top, and I remove them. And then now they're cooking, and as they're thawing out, and then when they're good on one side, I flip them over about 4 minutes, and then the other three are resting on the pan, and they're starting to heat up and separate. So I don't have to get flour and egg and all the things people do with liver, and then that's all over the counter. And I just take a paper towel and cut it in half, put it in the frying pan, and get tongs, and no fuss, no muss. Simple, easy way to cook your liver. So those are how I've been cutting back on my bill at the grocery store for meat. But also eggs and cheese. I didn't mention them. They're very important. I buy the big bag, 5-pound bag of the, let me see here. I get a 5-pound bag of cheddar or other types of cheese. Then I separate them in plastic bags, and I put most of them in the freezer. And then during the week, if I want something, I can just take a spoonful of cheese and put it over the top and put it in the microwave or in the frying pan. And then as it melts, it gives a nice flavor. And I'm not using a lot of cheese, but it helps when you're cooking simple meals with simple ingredients. Cheese, cheese solves everything. And the eggs, obviously, there's a lot of recipes you can make with eggs. And peanut butter. Peanut butter is great. Still not as much protein as chickpeas, though, and actually quite expensive when you consider how much protein is compared to the others. So if you're going crazy on your food bill because of meats, I understand. Every once in a while I get a hankering for some chicken myself. In fact, I bought some the other day. When I cooked in the pan, half of it was liquid. It got me sick to my stomach. So those are some of the things I've been messing around with over the last few years, and they've been. I'm getting ready to make a macaroni salad with the mackerel, and I'm eating me. I'm learning me English. Oh my God! I'm going to have me a little tortilla with some chickpea spread. So yeah, things are going good. Guys, I hope this was something helpful to you, and you might want to check out my playlist at Robb's Homemade Life. I've got one on recipes, on many other things, and it might save you some time and some money, and that's what we're about here on this channel, trying to help people. All right, guys, hope this was something helpful to you, and take care. See you out there.